Hello. I hope you're all doing well. We've at this point when you come to this module, you've pretty much done a lot of the work on the testing, the quizzes, etc. And now the focus is completely really on the new business strategy project. So I want to go over that. You have the video and the PowerPoints on what the project is, the assignment itself. And you'll see that very clearly there, and what you're supposed to do, and the whole parameters for that assignment. But in this talk, I want you to first call up the required slides for the new business strategy project. Call that up, and then we're going to go over this very in some detail, because these are the exactly the slides that you'll need to prepare for. You need to use for your new business strategy. In other words, I'm giving you a complete framework for how to do it and what to do and what I'll be looking for. And that's for consistency, for quality, etc. So you don't have to come up with your own way of doing it or your own thing and look at it. You're basically taking this format, this process, which is follows along the stuff you've been learning over the semester on the 1 hour on your book, and utilizing it, that format, that structure, to do an effective strategic business plan. We're not going to do a full plan. I know that there's just not enough time, and I think for our purposes we don't need to go as far as that. But we are going to go to the point where we come up, is the business viable? So the business viability assessment, which you read in your book and which we've covered, and we'll cover, I'm going to do another lecture on that, it is really key to this. And so we're going to get to the point where we do the new business viability assessment. We're not going to go through a lot of greater detail past that, but you'll have a basis. If you were to, that would be where you get to a certain point, and you would start developing the financials, the other things, the action steps, etc., on how to actually implement that. But we're going to go to the point where you say this business makes sense or not. Okay, so I think that's fair enough for you to be able to. You can do a really good job on that. You don't have time to do a fantastic job on a huge thing, but you do have enough time to do a very good job on what we're covering. Anyway, I hope by now you have that new business project slides up, and let's just go through them. First, you'll see the first slide is basically explaining to you that there's a new business strategy project for your class, and that this format is to be a useful tool for presenting your strategy. So we're going to use this format, and it just tells you that basically what you're trying to do when you do a strategy is that you're saying, giving some background information, highlighting what will make it work, and laying out your idea for the new business, and then describing where you go and the potential for future. And then you'll see the slides that we'll be looking at are right there. So you'll see the list of slides that are going to be covered in this presentation that you'll be working on, a new business plan, are listed right there, and you'll do those in exact order. So let's go through them a bit. On the next one, you're going to have your company name, whatever your company is that you've chosen, or you'll make it. I'll give you a name, but you can pick a different name, of course. And then you come up with a thing like that. This is your plan for these years. Your name, so I know who you are, and all that. Then your next slide is that you just leave that slide pretty much as it is. I just want to highlight to you that there's a point to strategic planning, and this is what it does. I'm not asking you to change that so much. I'm just saying that I want you to really, whenever you do a strategic plan for a company, it's often good to remind your audience why you're doing it. We're doing this because it's the only way to make sure we do these accurately, fine, etc. So leave that as it is pretty much, and then you go to the next slide. So here you have an executive summary. Now remember, in business, especially when you're presenting something like this, you'll often be presented to a group of people that have not read your full document. They're just going to look at your PowerPoint slides, and even then, there are people that won't even have looked at those, and they will only focus on a very tight set of information, and that's called the executive summary. And that's I've had bosses that had attention spans so short you couldn't even have them read 2 paragraphs. A part of being a very successful business person is you're very busy, so you don't have a lot of time to look at a lot of different things. So your executive summary here is you're saying the strategy for this company, and we'll describe this, and just be a quick hit on that. And then from there you're going to talk about the new what the new business is and how the idea came to you. What's your new business? What's the opportunity? How do you see this market as being the one that will fulfill your dream or your desire, your thought that'll be successful? Then if you it's always good to include people who are visual. So if you have depending on what the business is, if you want to throw up some pictures, schematics, drawings, etc., or country maps, whatever you want to do here, if you think it enhances the visual impact of your presentation, go ahead. Then you're going to do a SWOT analysis. So your SWOT analysis will be basically you're looking at the remember, for a SWOT, it's the strengths are internal positive factors within your company that can help you be successful. Your weaknesses are internal elements that maybe make it more difficult, that challenge you, that make it harder, things you have to overcome to not be at a disadvantage against your competition, etc. Threats are external factors, external outside what you control, but then impact, of course, when you go to a foreign country, the threats are all those elements around that new market that could impact your business in a negative way, and the opportunities are the other way around. They're external, still external, but what in that external market, that new market, outside of what you have, makes you think or leads you to believe that you have some real opportunities there to grow business. In your book, of course, you have a bunch of questions to ask yourself on how to develop a SWOT analysis, so it's really quite simple. I mean, it's not an easy task, but it's all there. So just make sure you go through that, look at those things, and then ask yourself those questions, fill that out. Do what I always like to do, I think I mentioned before, on SWOT analysis, first write them out on just normal, type them out like on a Word document. Then you can put them into these boxes, but you want to just kind of say, what are our strengths, go through there, and you'll see that from the case. The assignment will give you the strengths and hint at the weaknesses, and then your country analysis will show you the threats and the opportunities. So it'll fall into place well. On the next slide, I would like you to summarize that. So because basically, even after all those strengths and weaknesses, threats and opportunities, in essence, there's going to be a clear path for you. You're saying our strengths here can overcome our weaknesses here, beat these threats, and take advantage of this opportunity. So just like a one sentence or one paragraph thing on highlighting the key strength, the key weakness, the key threat that you're going to overcome, and the key opportunity is what you want to see for your summary. The next slide is on competitor analysis. Anytime you're presenting something to come in a new business, your audience will say, who's out there, who do we have to compete with, who do we have to win against, what are the challenges? And if you don't know that, then you really stops your presentation right there, because your audience will want to know, have you thought that through? So here you're basically going to say your competitors that you know about, the markets, which are going to be it could be your product, could be your age level, it could be your price range, etc. Products in common, and then your target client base in common. Are you going after the same? Maybe it's your competition has a range of products that cover different sizes, shapes, age, etc. But yours is only for 20 to 30-year-olds with this, whatever, that dynamic. So you don't compete with them all over, you compete with them there. So you have to say what's there. And then your marketing approach, how does this competitor market? Do they do online? Do they do physical stores? Do they have door-to-door salesmen? Whatever their ads on TV, how do these different competitors reach their customers? And then how do they distribute to them? How do they get their product to the customers? And then in what way will they be competing with us? So you don't have to have 12. Maybe your market, you'll have many more than that, maybe just a few. Or maybe you just say, I just need to pick the top ones. Maybe your main competitor is going to be other foreign business developers in that country, because maybe your main competition is another international entrepreneur-minded company that's trying to get into that same market. So, and then at the next slide, you'll do a summary of that. Again, the same kind of thing on the SWOT. You're basically saying our real competition from this company and these two companies, whatever. Whenever you look at a company, that you might think, well, but they must have 1 million competitors out there competing against all kinds of people. If you ask them, they'll say, yeah, but our real competitors are these guys, these people, this company. So you summarize that our real competition is from this country, this company, in this country, in this market, and we're going to be able to compete effectively with them because of the following. Then you have the business viability assessment. I'm going to kind of go by this now, because I have another more complex, because this is very important, a little more in depth. But basically, the concept here is that for you to be successful in any business, you have to really have three basic questions answered. Can we be competitive? Are we going to be unique, different, competitive? Can we win? Is there something different and unique about us that makes it viable? That somebody want to work with us, and will we commit to the business? In other words, will your company provide all the resources that you need, including the financial, of course, but also the people, the products, the technology, the ongoing thing, and is there a passion for it? Do you really? Is there something that a bunch of different ways that you can look at this and say, we're committed to this and we'll make it happen? And finally, do you understand the drivers? A driver is basically, if you push one thing, it comes out the other way. It makes it happen. So, and the drivers are really important for you to know. It could be location, price, all sorts of things. We'll talk about that more. But you really have to be able to demonstrate to your audience you understand what makes the business work, and that's really important. Okay, so after that, remember you did this table, this assessing the country's business system. For here, you'll just say assess the country's business system. You'll put in the country, and then you'll look at these. You already have the categories, and then where it's a description, you'll take your information from your analysis of the country profile, etc., and you'll fill that in. So you'll just use this exact same table, and then answer those questions in the description and fill it out. So from this, you'll be able to show that you have a really good understanding of the country, and that when your audience will say, okay, I understand the ownership system, networking system, etc. So these two slides on the country business system are really important. But again, they come off the information you get from the World Bank site that we discussed, and you just kind of put it in there. And if you don't know, Google it. Google up exactly what's that question in that market, and you'll get a quick answer, and you can put that in there. But this is really important for you to have and understand. It's a great tool to keep in mind for whenever you look at country opportunities in the future as well. The next slide is, of course, the second one out, and then after that, you're going to put here. When you looked at the doing business on the World Bank site, the data you find there that's relevant to your company and your market, put it in there. So you're going to take that data from the doing business in part, that how to do business in that country, pick out the things that really matter, and put them on that slide. And the next slide, same kind of thing, but on the country profile. You remember you have that link. Go in the country profile and look at all those different factors and think, which ones matter to me, which ones matter to our company, and which ones matter to the innovation and the entrepreneurial thing I want to bring to that market, and then put them there. So you show that you know what it's like to have to do new business there, and what it's like to operate in that country. And then there's a slide there. It's always important, to explain to people that how you know something's true. For example, you might say, we're going to sell this for sure, and the why you're going to do that and how you're going to do it may be understood, but how do you know it's going to work is important. If you can't answer how do you know it's going to work, then you can't get anywhere, because everyone in the audience is listening, and what they're thinking is that okay, but how do you know it's going to work? So from here, you just kind of synthesize those two previous slides. You're doing business, and you're thinking, and the country profile, and your country, and your company, and your SWOT, all that information you put together and just think, how can I know this is going to work? And between the SWOT, between the competitive analysis, the country profile, and doing business there, you will know that this is looking good, or it's not looking so good, whatever. But there's where you really make your pitch and summarize why you think that all that's going to come together and make an effective opportunity in that market. And then there you just do a strategy. At the last slide, you just say, kind of go back to your executive summary. This is what we want to do. This is what our basic thing is this, and it just summarizes kind of a closure to that thing. So again, these are the slides you use, not other slides, not different slides. Not you could. I don't really want to see more slides, but you can't do less. If you have more slides and it's really interesting for some reason, sure, But basically, this is your project format, and you'll be going through that. Now, the way it works is, I'll explain that a little bit later on I'll repeat myself in another video, I'm sure. But basically, I'm going to look at these with you as you go along. So you may not have a good first set, but you'll definitely have a good last set if you go. I'm going to look at every single one of these, edit them, and make sure that they're good and they make sense and they're powerful and they're professional looking. So that's why you have the different deadlines. They're very much learning experience. You do the first one is do the best you can. You'll get it back and you get it back. So we'll do it 3 times, and by the third one, if you do your part, it's going to look really good. So we'll go over that. So I'll go over a little bit more when we talk about that further, and I'll put that in writing also. But please, this is what you work on, these slides, and you're going to be delivering them. So please, I'm sorry, I think there's one more. Sorry. In fact, I'll slide that. It should be before the summary. But there's this little incorporation structure, employee work location, key aspects. You just want to summarize there. What's our country we're looking at? What's our entry strategy? We're going to do wholly owned, joint venture, alliance. What's our form? We've discussed that already. How we're going to get in. And the incorporation structure, is going to be what kind of company are we going to set up, and then how many employees do you think you need. But these don't have to be. Number of employees. It's a guess. Corporate structure, it'll be very much dependent upon the country you're going into, what they allow, but you can see that pretty quickly from the World Bank sites. And the entry strategy is important. You have to think: do I want to go in there wholly owned, joint venture, just cross? Do I just want to do internet sales? What's my way of getting into that country? So that's good. So anyway, hope that helped. Please do send me any questions. You'll have questions. It's not easy, but it's very valuable to be able to figure out how to work this kind of project. All right. So hope that helps, and talk to you soon. Thanks.